And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good morning and welcome to the Market Forecast. Thursday, last day of September, October tomorrow. Hard to believe. Time sure flies. Thanks for trusting me with your time today. Always looking for context, good risk management, and infinite patience. GDP number came out this morning at 7:30. A little bit better. This is the final, so market's really not jarred much by that at all this morning. So we've got some pretty decent opportunities for us today, and maybe a little less volatility. You got the VIX down a little bit this morning. So anyways, at 7:30 this morning Central Time, the GDP numbers came out. They were looking for 6.6. That was the preliminary. Came out a little bit better at 6.7. Jobless claims a little bit worse than expected. Initial jobless claims were expected to be at 335,000. Came out 362,000. Continuing jobless claims was expected to be 2.8 million on the nose. Came out 2,802,000, but there was a revision lower from last week's. So, I would call that about even. We still have 9:30 this morning, the nat gas numbers coming out, and there are a couple of talking feds. Apparently, the government shutdown has been averted, or at least until December the 3rd. Pending today's vote, or the two other major spending bills remain in limbo. The U.S. dollar is at 12-month highs. A lot of folks attributing that to risk aversion. European and Chinese energy crisis continues as China's economy slips into contraction per their PMI retail sales and industrial production numbers. Boost in U.S. crude stockpiles is keeping upside to continuation in check in U.S. crude. My dog's going crazy. The EIA announced yesterday a 4.5 million barrel boost in crude inventories here in the U.S. If you're already in the markets, hopefully things are going your way. As always, we're looking for your success. Lacey, what are you doing? Get out of there. As always, make sure you like, share, comment, question, feedback, and heckle at will. Good to say good morning to everybody here. Just taking a brief look at the VIX a couple of minutes ago, down about 4%, 21.65 off its close yesterday. The dollar index about steady, 94.34, but again, holding near year highs, and the 10-year yield up a little bit this morning, but still holding relatively closely to that 1.54%. Good morning, Jorge. First in the room. You win the prize today. Theo, good morning. Federico, Felix, the infamous Felix Escobar, good to see you as always. Cam, Bill, good morning. Clarence, Vince, good morning. Auction Nam, I like that. Little shout out to Robin Williams there. Zorain, good morning. John, Trading Research, good morning. KM and M Sup, want to make fun of my risk today. I took a risk of 2 points and made 10. Boom shakalaka. That's 5-1 reward over risk. That's a great trade. It's a great trade. Manage that risk. Keep the risk small and the opportunities big. Asymmetric, we call those. Little risk, big rewards. Great job, NM. Brian, Jerry is awake. Hopefully John is too. Good morning, Keith, KM. Are the recorded futures classes available for us to download or to see at a later date? KM, not this trip. We're going to add a bunch of more content to them. We're going to improve them. We're going to do them again. Those will all be recorded and in some form or another available to watch. Today is the last of those. We're really going to have more of a conversation about context, hypothesis, and some planning. Now, this isn't going to be about your trading plan. This is going to be more about planning for the trading day. Hopefully you'll be able to join us. And I do apologize. We're not going to make these available for forever. We're going to improve on them. We're going to do them again, and those should be recorded and available for everybody. So we are, however, going to add another session of group coaching in the meantime. So we'll have 2 sessions of group coaching throughout the week. Hopefully you'll be able to attend those. And, those are great. A lot of questions get emailed to me, and I usually address those first. So you can always send in a question via email, and then after that we just kind of go through the list and answer as many questions as we can. I don't claim to know everything. Nobody knows everything. I'm going to be honest with you if it's something that I'm not that familiar with, and it's one of the reasons I love that group coaching is because I learn probably more than you guys do in those sessions. So, Cam, great question. We'll be doing them again soon. Good morning, Laura, Don K, George, Keith, qualified funded trader yesterday. Nice job, Keith. You are very excited to see your continued success in that, Keith. Spencer was watching oil, forgot about the forecast. Good morning. That's okay. We have the opening range at the upper extreme in crude oil this morning. I've got my 1-minute chart with my 1-minute opening range, and it certainly looks like we are leaving that opening range behind. We'll take a look at that in the charts here very shortly. Mert, welcome back. Hi, everyone as well. Mert, okay. Chris, Jason, Eddie, Justin, check out copper. You're going to have me checking out everything, aren't you, Justin? We may have to start this a little bit earlier, 7:45. I know we've talked about it. We'll let you know if it's going to happen. Razor Trades, good morning. Fred Decker, always a pleasure. Thank you for the great questions you always send in. KM, you're welcome. Spencer, yes, it does. All right. All right, we are, I think, ready to jump into the charts here. And let me get things set. As always, starting with the daily in crude. No particular order, just moving left to right. All right, so here we go. All right. The open interest continues to increase in crude oil. We had a pretty good excursion up toward, but not quite to, weekly kickoff high. We've talked about this head and shoulders and how that the target, once it broke out of the neckline, was all the way up here. So I believe we've achieved that. Balance and indecision for the last couple of days. We know that our opening range is the high of the regular trading hour session, and when we leave balance and we find acceptance, we go with that balance. We go with that direction away from that balance. It is quite possible that we've set up an island top here. I want to take a look at this on the 30-minute chart. So, yeah, we did. So, an island top. Here is the move to the upside. We gapped up here. We never closed the gap from the upside, and now we've gapped down back through the gap. We've got a number of visuals with which to look for to clean up down here. We've got a couple of naked points of control. We've already got, I think, tested one of them in regular trading hours. The next visual would be down to this naked point of control down here, from this day. So we also have 73.60, which was last week's weekly kickoff high. 73.60, yeah, it was last week's weekly kickoff high that may cause a little bit of a hiccup for us. So we know that our opening range is the high of the session. We know we've opened with a gap. We know that we have now left a 3-day island top at the high here. You know, that can be a relatively powerful reversal signal. So I'm going to be, as long as we keep our opening range the high of the session, I'll be looking for opportunities to sell strength. We know we've got some overnight shorts in this market. Settlement was all the way up here. We've kind of traded both sides of it. We've left the area of balance. We've driven lower. And again, you know, without the closing of the gap or even the closing of this gap to take care of the island top situation, this market looks like it is perhaps ready to head lower. I mean, look at the daily chart. We've gone pretty directional, and it's, you know, seems at least time for some kind of a pullback. This pink line here is last week's high. So let's take a look now into the S&Ps. Wasn't quite sure what to think, what to look at, knowing that the GDP was going to be coming out. It wasn't a major event, so we're going to just take a look at what the situation technically is here. The weekly kickoff low is still in play. The overnight low is the weekly kickoff low, 43.55. Quarters the low, 43.55 is the weekly kickoff low. So we are we added 18,000 in open interest off that low from yesterday. We did close below weekly kickoff low, but there was some pretty good upside volume yesterday. Remember, volume always seems to come in really strong on the down days and just kind of waffles on up days. So we had a decent day in volume for a reversal, for a move in the opposite direction of the bigger picture. Now, I'm not suggesting that we are breaking any downside structure here. We've got a ways to go before we can do that. We've had two really kind of choppy, volatile days and they were just really rangy, regular trading hour days. And again, we have open interest continuing to build, decent volume, downside structure. I'm going to be looking at this as, take a look at the 30. Oh, man. All right, now we got it. So, move down day before yesterday, then rangy, volatile, it's two-sided trade. Two-sided trade yesterday. You look at the day yesterday, and it was, how many opportunities did we have going from high to low and low to high? So we open, we rally, we put in the high. We can't take out the overnight high. We break, we put in the low, which is basically the point of control and settlement. We knew we had some overnight longs in this market, so they come down, take the market all the way down to settlement, all the way back up to try and test the highs again, and all the way back down to try and test the lows again. Settlement 43.49.75. It was exhausting yesterday, but what a great opportunity for those who had the hypothesis that once the early extremes were in, that those were where the opportunities were. Expecting range-bound trade, you could have just printed money, selling near the high, buying near the low, and all day long just kind of going back and forth. It was really a fun day, I would think, for reversion traders, for traders that are looking to fade extremes. What does that mean for us today? Well, we're opening in range. We're opening in value. We have a weekly kickoff low that has been somewhat magnetic here. This was, the center of the range, a little bit less center of the range. We're going to get a look down here as the overnight inventory reconciles. I'm going to stay really patient today in the equities and in the S&Ps. The GDP came out. It wasn't a big player. The market is seeking new information, it seems. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq now. So the Nasdaq, Tuesday, we had our breakout below weekly kickoff low on good volume yesterday, and a very indecisive day, although, another kind of choppy, rangy type day. Yesterday, we had absolutely no change in open interest. It's like nobody cared yesterday and just let the market kind of flop in the wind, if you will. We have an inside extended trading hour session today. The market is seeking balance, seeking two-sided trade. Take a look at the 30-minute chart now. One kind of comment I was thinking earlier was just looking at yesterday's range extremes, we may find some fish at those levels. Here's the 30-minute chart. So, here's yesterday's range. We're inside it. We've got maybe some overnight longs, but we're inside value. I'm going to stay patient. I'm really going to be looking for opportunities perhaps at yesterday's range extremes, because anything in the middle here is a random walk. All right, so patience in the equities today. I'm really going to try and make the market give me something. I'm not going to go looking for something from the market. I'm going to wait till the market says, hey, here's your shot. Gold. So we tested weekly kickoff low yesterday. We tested weekly kickoff low last night. So far, it is providing a degree of support. Volume fell off a little bit yesterday, and we added about 900 in open interest on a down day. So it's indicating that there were still a few sellers left in this market that were willing to bet to short on this support level. I don't think that was a very wise move. We can see that the market is kind of moving away from that level. It tested the weekly kickoff overnight. The dollar strength is one thing that worries me about this. Just going to be putting some downside price pressure on this, but we've had a pretty decent move to the downside. We've had 1, 2, 3 bear flags. We had 1, 2, 3 bull flags before we started moving in the opposite direction. What does that mean? I don't know, but when there's patterns, it's something to notice. Take a look at the 30. So the market started to move higher even before the GDP numbers. It was still in value. We did, I believe, leave the opening range at the low of the session, so I'm not going to be looking for shorts unless I get to a good inflection level where might be some resistance. We've got lots of visuals upstairs here with which to focus on, and when traders are focusing on a particular level, they tend to make price go there. Now we've got a little bit of a gap up here that remains unchecked, so we'll keep an eye on that area particularly as it gets closer to see if we see momentum continuing or seeing it falling off. Opening a range in value, sometimes you're better off just waiting for the extremes to establish and then working those extremes. The euro is in deep doo-doo with the strength of the dollar. We saw support there until we broke out below it in the overnight last night. The dollar strength weekly kickoff low should be resistant if we get there. We've got this trend line here, which we've got. This isn't right here. Hang on a second. We've got touch points. We got above it. We used that as support. Now we're back down to it. Is this going to end up being somewhat supportive? We'll have to see. The volume and open interest continue to pile on. We added 15,000 in open interest on that big move to the downside. That tells me sellers are betting on continuation to the downside. Here's the 30-minute chart, really close to the bone most of the night with the settlement, which is 116.17 and a half ticks. Got a little bit low. We opened with a gap. We've closed the gap. The gap is presenting a resistance level now. So, if we see this upper extreme again, there might be a decent opportunity to limit the risk, because that's our job, really, is limiting risk. The 10-year, inside day after inside day, the market is really waiting for information from what is going to happen with the Fed. When are they going to start easing the buybacks? When is all this going to start? The market is just waiting for that information, and our weekly kickoff level has become magnetic because it's an important inflection level that there has been no real decision making in and around it. We lost 38,000 in open interest yesterday on lower volume, telling me, hey, you know what, this is an important level. It's a decision making level, but we don't know when that decision is going to get made. All right, so Lacey. She's mauling me. She's a goof. All right. Opening in range, in value, no real overnight inventory, taking a stab down below yesterday's low. This market is largely range bound, and until that range bound activity breaks, I'm going to be fading extremes. Those extremes would be the day before yesterday's low and the day before that high. So there's lots of space around us for this market to move around. Again, I'm going to try and stay patient and look for those extremes. Oops. And finally, the nat gas. Interesting day yesterday. So we had Tuesday that stab up to that 2014 swing high. We had some difficulty up there. If I remember right, I think we lost open interest. And that, let me double check. Yeah, we lost open interest on that, when we put in that high. And that was long liquidation. That was profit taking. Yesterday, again, we lost another 8,000 in open interest. Profit taking again. Now we're back down below weekly kickoff high, which is $5.69.5, and we're kind of maybe starting to create some sort of a range. I think some of the upside expectations have been maybe a little bit overdone. So here's that weekly kickoff high. We closed back down below it. Settlement was $5.47. So we've got a gap that remains unchecked below us. We've got some unchecked points of control down below us. We don't have a lot of visuals above. So if there's no new bad news as far as difficulty with supply, it's quite possible. I mean, look at all these. We got naked points of control. We've got all kinds of visuals down here to come down and look. So the market, even though it was really strong, has left weaknesses down below that may need to be revisited, rechecked, relooked at. So hopefully that's some helpful information for us. I wanted to make sure and give everybody a chance to get ready for the equity open. And let's see. So you guys have really good thoughts and conversations going on. Hey, Journey, good to see you. Captain Price, good to see you. I love the fact that you guys are talking to each other and just throwing your thoughts out there. It's important to kind of just talk levels and not direction. the last thing that I want to do is to color somebody's picture of their market, and have that be wrong, and then have somebody take a loss because of it. So I try and be careful not to go too directional. If there's areas where I might see fish. Former Vice President Joe Biden's son, your advice weeks ago to walk away and find a distraction, play guitar while the market looks for a direction or purpose has been very helpful. I'm glad. All right. Awesome. Painting, another great distraction. Yes. All right, folks, let's take our deep breath. We'll see you at Futures 401. I sent the link in before. I can drop it in here again. That's going to be the last one for a little while. Don't forget, we've got the Q&A with Michael Patak, the founder, at 3 o'clock on this YouTube channel. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. There's an outside chance that I might be taking tomorrow off. If so, Dan will be taking the market forecast. If not, I will be here for the forecast. And I look forward to your success. Have a great trading day. Get out there and profit. Trade well, and I'll see you in the pit in a minute.